It's a fact which has been backed by certain principles, which is I'm going to discuss here today. Hi, my name is Alok. I'm father of two boys, nine trees, husband to one of the most beautiful princes of the world. I'm an engineer, an MBA, an entrepreneur, traveler, author, blogger, podcaster, a parenting expert, and a business enthusiast for the last 20 years. And I'm here helping all you aspiring and existing business owners build and scale up their businesses in multiple level of ROIs and help you be time independent. So, friends and entrepreneurs, today I'm going to talk about a very important skill, which is negotiation, right? And as I told you, a good negotiation can give you three times better yield, right? So, this dynamic world of today is, again, I would say, very challenging. And this ability of negotiation in a day to day life is going to be very turbulent in business scenario as well, and this business climate can make the difference between a success and a failure of your business. So today I'm going to talk about how to win a negotiation, right? So what is a negotiation? Before getting into that, I'll tell you, whether it is your vendor, your supplier, your employee, or your customers, there is a lot of life which is up for negotiation, and you keep on doing it on a daily basis. With knowing, few people do it knowingly and people do it without knowing, but negotiation is a part of your communication on a daily basis, right? So let me first start with you to tell you what do you mean by negotiation, right? So, negotiation is a dialogue between two people or more or parties which intend to reach to a beneficial outcome over one or the other issues where there may be a chances of conflict or respect or any other kind of an entity which may lead to certain ambiguities in a later stage. So this negotiation is always a two-way communication wherein both the parties try to get the most beneficial returns, right? So this is in short about negotiation is, and the topic which I'm going to cover is how to win a negotiation. Thank you, Aditya. So negotiation is a win-win situation, I would say. It's not a one party winning a negotiation, but it has to be a win-win situation, because if either of the party wins means somebody is losing, and if it is not a win-win situation, then it's not a good negotiation, I would say, right? So you have to understand what actually negotiation means. And now I'm going to tell you certain tips, you can say certain tips to get into a good negotiation and get a better result, right? So here I go. So I'll be talking about a few tips for a successful negotiation. Tip number one: don't be afraid to ask for what you want, right? So successful negotiators are assertive and challenge everything. Whatever you say, they'll be challenging it. They know that everything is negotiable, and normally this particular discussion of challenging all the concepts which are coming during the discussion is called negotiation consciousness, right? So negotiation consciousness is what makes the difference between negotiators and everybody else on the planet, right? So a good negotiator has this negotiation consciousness in his mind and he plays it very well. So being assertive means asking for what you want and refusing to take no for an answer. Normally we feel afraid, right? That is what I'm saying is, don't feel afraid and be ready to take that no also as an answer, right? So practice expressing your feelings without anxiety or anger. When somebody is saying no to you, don't show anger, or don't be excited, or don't show your anxiety. Let people know what you want in a non-threatening way. So you should be practicing, say, suppose you are saying you shouldn't do this, so you should reframe this word as, I don't feel comfortable when you say this, and so on and so forth. So try to control your anger in terms of emotions, and try to control your anxiety as well when you say a no. So note that there is a difference between being assertive and being aggressive. You are assertive minded when you take care of your own interests while maintaining respect to the interest of others. As I told you, it has to be a mutually benefited things, right? So when you see to your own interest with a lack of regard to for other people's interest, you are aggressive. So being assertive is a part of negotiation consciousness. You have to take care of the other as well, right? Now, I'm talking about challenge. Challenge means not taking things at the face value. It means thinking for yourself. You must be able to make up your mind as opposed to believing everything you are told, right? So on a practical level, this means you have the right to question the asking price of whatever product and service you are discussing. And it also means that you have an obligation to question everything you read, the data which you have related to the topic which you are under a discussion, right? So you cannot negotiate unless you are willing to challenge the validity of the opposing position. And this challenge can only be done when you have sufficient data, right? So be prepared. Number two, very important, shut up and listen. So I see people in the negotiation talking more and more, and they can't stop talking. So negotiators are detectives, right? They ask probing questions and then shut up. They'll be asking a question, they probe you, and then they'll be keeping their mouth shut, and they'll be trying to, get more out of you, right? So the other negotiator will tell you everything you need to know, and all you have to do is to listen. That's it. Your work is done. So many conflicts can be resolved easily when we learn how to listen. And negotiation is a very good tool wherein if you apply the 70-30 rule, wherein you listen 70% and speak 30%, you can be a good negotiator, because the more you listen, the more you observe, the more data you have, the more you have options to counter and challenge the other's questions, right? Okay. So what you need to do is encourage, make a practice to poke and probe the other negotiator to talk more, right? By asking lots of open ended questions, questions that can't be answered in yes or no. It has to be elaborative, right? Number three, do your homework. This is what all the detectives do. Gather as much as pertinent information prior to getting into your negotiation. What are their needs? What pressure do they feeling? What options do they have? Doing your homework is vital to successful negotiation, because the more information you'll be having about your customer or employee or vendor or supplier, the more better you can negotiate with them. You can't make accurate decisions without understanding the other side situations. It's like a war. Unless and until you know about the position of your enemy, the strength, the arms and ammunition which they have, you how are you going to counterattack, right? So you have to be prepared doing your homework, correct? So people who constantly, leave money on the table probably fail to do their homework. If you're leaving a business on the table, which is why you are there on the negotiation table, if you don't have that kind of a homework done, you will be simply losing the money. That is what I mean by leaving the money on the table. Okay. Number four is always be willing to walk away. See, we normally fear of losing something, right? Again, negotiation normally we talk in that particular sense wherein a customer and a supplier are, talking on a table, and we normally fear that we'll be losing the business. In other words, if you don't have that option of leaving and walking away, you are too dependent on somebody else's decision, right? So if you depend too much on the positive outcome of a negotiation, you lose the ability to say no. You should be firm in your actions, your offerings, and you should be able to have that option to say no at any point of time it is not suiting you, right? So you resolve anything and everything by just saying, fine, so this proposition which you are telling is not suiting us, and I'll be sorry to stay here because this is things are not going to work for me. So when you say that, and when the other negotiator sees that you are open to walk away without taking that option, he'll be understanding the concept that you are not very much, you know uh, fearing of losing the order, because you must be having other things in your hand, right? So if you recognize that you have other options, the other negotiator will also sense your inner strength, and he'll be more likely to give you that business. Number 5, don't be in a hurry. Being patient is very difficult for anybody. So we want to get it over with. Anyone who is patient enough is a good negotiator. That is one. And if the other negotiator sees that you are in a rush, you are more likely, he understands that, and he'll make certain, you know, pre-assumptions or certain terms condition wherein you will be liable, you will be able to do mistakes, you'll be able to agree to certain things. Because you are in a rush, you will not be able to think in detail, and you'll be doing mistakes. So your patience can be devastating to the other negotiator if they are in a hurry, because they start to believe that you are not under pressure to conclude the deal, right? So what do they do? The good negotiators, they offer concessions as a means of providing you with an incentive to say yes. They'll give you certain options wherein they'll be making you say yes on certain things which may not be suiting to you. Again, it's very dynamic, very challenging. These are all psychology based discussions which are happening across the table without saying that I am playing with your mind. Number 6, aim high and expect the best outcome. So successful negotiators are very much optimistic. If you expect more, you'll get more. So a proven strategy for achieving higher results is opening with an extreme position. So seller should ask for more than they expect to receive, and buyer should offer less than they are prepared to pay. So people who aim higher do better. Your optimism will become a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So conversely, if you have low expectation, you will probably wind up with a less satisfying outcome. So you should be, focusing more on your results, how you are going to do it, and how much you are expecting to do it, right? Yes, Aditya, I'll be coming back to you with this topic. Whom can I follow for better negotiation? I'll be telling you, I have certain tips, and please, watch carefully whatever I'm talking. These are all proven psychologies which has been utilized across the globe. Fine. Let me take you another point. So focus on the other side's pressure, not yours. Normally when we get into negotiation, we are pressurized on ourselves, because somewhere we feel that if we don't win, if we don't get the order, we are losing on our numbers, or what I'll be telling in the reporting to my managers or something like that. So try to focus on the other side's pressures, not yours, right? So where we have a tendency to focus on our own pressure, on the reason why we need to make a deal, and it's the old story about the grass being greener in the other side's backward. ऐसा नहीं है. It's not that only you are needing for the the product and service. The person who has called you for the negotiation, he also has certain problems, right? And he wants a solution from your side. So he is also into a pressure of getting a solution, obviously with the better results. So he may be trying to cut cost or time or something. There can be a number of factors, right? So if you fall into this trap, you are working against yourself. The other side will appear more powerful. So when you focus on your own limitations, you miss the big picture. Instead, successful negotiators ask, what is the pressure on the other side in this negotiation? They can feel it very clearly. So you'll feel more powerful when you recognize the regions for the other side to give in. Your negotiators and your negotiation power drives in part from the pressure on the other person. Even if they appear nonchalant, they inevitably have worries and concerns, which is obviously there, but we don't feel like. And it's your job to be a detective and root this out. What exactly is the problem behind this particular meeting or this negotiation happening? If you discover that they are also under pressure, and which they surely are, look for ways to exploit that pressure in order to achieve a better result for yourself. Number 8, show the other person how their need will be met. So when we are negotiating, it is not that you are just selling a product or service. You have to tell that their needs, whatever needs they may be having, either the product or the service which you are going to offer, their needs are going to be met, right? So successful negotiators always look at the situation from the other side's perspective, and everyone looks at the world differently. So you are ahead of the game if you can figure out their perception of the deal, right? Instead of trying to win the negotiation, seek to understand the other negotiator and show them ways to feel satisfied. The needs are met, the needs are fulfilled. So, my philosophy of negotiation includes the firm belief that one hand washes the other. If you help the other side to feel satisfied, they'll be more inclined to help you satisfy your needs. So, that doesn't mean you should give it all, whatever you have with their positions. Satisfaction means that their basic interest should have been fulfilled, not that their demands have been met. Needs and demands, again, they are two different things. Their needs are been fulfilled by your servicing, your product and service, but the demands in terms of maybe the price or the timelines or the quality or whatever it is, that demands should be on your part. You have to demand in order to fulfill their needs. So don't confuse between the interest and the demands. Their positioning, their demand is what they say they want. Their basic interest is what they really need to get, right? Okay. Number nine is don't give everything away without getting something in return. Negotiation, as I told you, is a two-way process. It has to be something given, something taken. It has to be give and take, right? So unilateral concessions are self-defeating. Never, never just try to give and give. If you're giving something, ask for something as well. So whenever you give something, obviously you have to get something in return. So always tie a string. I'll do this if you do that, right? Otherwise, you are inviting the negotiator to ask you for additional concessions all the time, which is happening at most of the people and most of the organizations. They just, if they are good negotiators, they'll be only asking, they'll not be giving you anything, right? So, when you give something away without requiring them to reciprocate, they'll feel entitled to your concessions and won't be satisfied until you give up more and more. But if you have to earn your concessions, you will have to drive a greater sense of satisfaction than if they got it for nothing, right? So give and take something, charge something in order to whatever you are giving. And number 10 is don't take the issue or the other person's behavior personally. See, you are running an organization, the other side of the table is also somebody who is maybe the owner or maybe some representative. So you are also working on behalf of your organization, your company, and the other person is there. So don't take anything personally. There may be some hard things or some undue demands which the customer may be asking, or you may be also talking in the same language, but don't take it personally as well, right? So if someone is rude or difficult to deal with, try to understand their behavior and never take it personally. So these are few of the tips. If you do it and if you focus on all these tips which I have told you, you are going to be a good negotiator, and the results which you are going to get is going to give you three times better results, maybe in terms of price, timelines, delivery, quality, anything. So this is all about in today's topic, and I'm looking forward to see you in another topic. Till then, bye bye.